will have our nutrition for well-being workshop, which will be presented by Fatima Sumar. She's a registered holistic nutritionist. She's also a best-selling author with over 20 years of public speaking experience, including teaching, training, and workshop development. So please let's welcome Fatima, who will share her knowledge on nutrition and for mental well-being.
So how's everyone's lunch been so far?
Healthy.
Healthy, excellent, love that. I love hearing that. Okay, so I just wanted to say, you matter, you matter, you matter, you matter, you matter. Everyone here matters. Why do I say that? Because sometimes we think that, we may not be making a difference, but we actually are making a huge difference. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Fatima. I'm actually a survivor of depression. I had depression for about 10 years, and I actually did try to commit suicide. I did try everything under the sun. I'm not going to give you ideas how to do that, but I have tried, and thank God I'm actually here, standing here today in front of you to be able to tell you that there is more to life than depression. So as you see, this is sort of my whole thing. And how did I come out of depression? I did take the medication, but I found that it didn't help. Come on in, join us. Okay.
There's vacancy there.
But I'm not saying if you are on them, I'm not saying get off of them, but it didn't work for me. What did I start doing? I started looking at my nutrition. I started looking at my overall consumption, my health, including my mind, my body, my soul, my financing, my social interactions, and much, much more. So what is mental health? The definition by World Health Organization is, mental health is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stresses of life, realize their abilities, learn well, communicate, and progress in life. So here, the stats are actually quite terrifying, and especially after COVID, these stats have gone up quite a bit in number. So there is 1 in 5 people that are affected by mental illness. That doesn't mean depression. That could be depression. It could be a number of other things, like anxiety, like any of the other disorders that there are, or illnesses, okay? But you never know. So just remember, that person, if you look around yourself, 1 in 5, every 5th person will have something that they're dealing with. So just remember to have that empathetic ear, be generous, be kind. Don't always jump to judgment, because you don't know what that next person is dealing with. And then 1 in 50%, so 50% of the people now start younger, especially now with COVID, with technology, the rates have gone higher. That's pretty scary. So there's a story. My dad was at mosque, and there was this lady that actually wanted to talk to him. She never normally would talk to him, but she said, you know what, I need to talk to you. My dad said, okay, I will do whatever. I just need to finish off. He kept getting interrupted, someone kept coming, and he just, by the time he realized, this lady had gone. The next day, he found out that she committed suicide. So for him, it kept eating at him, because he could have just taken that minute to actually listen to her. How many of you guys have experienced something like that? Which is great, right? It's a good thing. I've been on both sides where I have wanted to commit suicide. I have tried, but I've also been on the side where I've had someone tell me that same thing. So just take that moment and be there for that person. They may just need to listen to someone, okay? And the other scary factor is $51 billion is spent on or is lost due to mental illness, more so than diabetes, cardiovascular, and anything else, and cancer. Now that's a very scary statistic because oftentimes mental health goes unseen, unheard of. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm hoping you guys can see all of that. So as I mentioned earlier, mental health is not just our mind. It encompasses everything. So it's our mindset, so our thought process, what we're thinking, how we're feeling, our physical body, our exercise, the amount of sunlight we're getting, exposure to natural light, Mother Nature, our emotional. Are we processing it? How do you feel? Are you actually processing your feelings, or are you just putting them underneath the rug? Every time you put it underneath the rug, guess what? You're just building up. So take that emotion and actually process it. What are you feeling? What are you dealing with? It's okay to feel. You need to feel. It also includes nutritional food. It's what we eat or don't eat. How much processed foods are we eating? How much real food are we eating? How much sugar are we taking in? Sugar meaning refined sugar versus natural sugars. And then it talks about our soul and our purpose. Are we living to the best of our ability? Is there something that there's that inner feeling that we want to continue, but we're not actually pursuing it? Because we're in this sort of go, 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 go. It's about living your truth. Then you have social economic, which is the community you belong to, which is your workplace, which is your home place, your socioeconomic. What is your financial situation? And then you have the brain type. So the brain type, a lot of times, this is when you hear someone's got depression, they've got bipolar, they've got ADD. So each brain type is a different thing. So a healthy brain is basically this, my ring doesn't help. So this would be a healthy brain where your neurotransmitters are communicating with one another. Now, if I take someone who's got a brain of a depression person, there's this gap. Now, your neurotransmitters are having to jump. So what does that sound like to the person? It's like it's all staticky. You go through an area and you miss parts of the conversation. Now, someone who's got ADD or ADHD, it's like taking Swiss cheese where it's got holes in it. So now you're not actually receiving all the messages properly. So is that your fault? No. Is it something that you can work towards clearing and healing and making it easier for you? Yes. By working hard on all of this. Right? So some people will process things very different. So when I would have had my episode, I would know that I needed to get out and do all this stuff, but I couldn't. Physically, I just could not. I could not move from my bed. I could not do anything. I couldn't go outside. It was just physically impossible, despite me knowing what was the right thing for me to do. Then the next is our toxics level. That's chemical, that's environmental, that is the products that we're using, it's the processed foods also, it's our emotions, it's what we're also taking in terms of the media outlets we're watching. What are we watching? What are we consuming? What kind of things are we reading? What are we doing on our free time? That's what toxins are. So what contributes to mental illness? Stress. How many of us have stress? how do you actually deal with the stress? Do you just bottle it up? Do you go for a run? Do you go for a swim? Do you go color? Or do you go do something that you enjoy? Or do you just take it out on the next person? Then there's nutrient deficiency. Are we getting all the vitamins we need or the minerals? No, we're not. Why? Because our foods, we're not eating real food. We're actually eating foods that have been preserved, that have toxins in them. They've been manipulated. So how often do you actually just shop the perimeter of the grocery store? Chances are you don't. Majority of the people shop inside of the grocery store. So if you're looking at a label and there's more than 5 ingredients on there that you can't pronounce, what are you eating? Yes.
What if you're like a big chemistry nerd who's like taken a lot of chemistry classes and know how to pronounce all the chemicals?
Okay, but then you would know what those chemicals are. Would you not?
Knowing how to pronounce them doesn't necessarily mean you know what they are, because it's just I'm rambling. It's like the same like prefixes and suffixes and chemical names, but they're arranged in different ways that.
So if you're a chemistry nerd, and you
it's
put
just
it.
a hypothetical, don't worry about it.
I will get to the question after, but okay. So then there's chemical imbalances, right? So chemical imbalances is, again, it comes to the brain type. So with the brain types, you're actually missing certain chemicals and minerals. Minerals are that we get, are trace minerals. Where do we get that from? Our food and vitamins. Hormonal imbalances. How many of you have experienced weird things, but you go to your doctor and they just tell you, it's okay, there's nothing wrong with you? A lot of times, it's the hormonal imbalances. And women, how many of you are, okay, you don't have to answer the age group, but there's some of you that have experienced, you've gone to the doctor at a certain age and they've said, yeah, it's fine, there's nothing wrong, because, you know, it's part of life. And you start acting really crazy, you know, like you just can't seem to figure things out. And they tell you you've got depression and they give you medication. But it actually isn't the case. That's your excess estrogen. So now knowing that and being able to work with someone, you can actually combat it, which actually goes a long way. Now it's the ability to process things is another way. So for someone who's very healthy, they can process information coming to them very quickly. They can see A, B, C, and D. Whereas with someone who's got some illnesses, mental illnesses, it takes them longer to process what is happening. Again, because of how their neurotransmitters are communicating with one another. I mentioned the type of brain. Now the important part is your gut-brain connection. It is a huge, huge connection. So 70% of everything starts in the gut. They actually say that that's your number one gut. Like your number one brain, I should say. So everything actually starts here. Your nutrients, because you need your nutrients in order for your brain to communicate, or the neurotransmitters to communicate with one another. If you're not getting enough nutrients, your neurotransmitters are not communicating with one another. How does your diet impact your overall health? Well, poor nutrition leads and exacerbates mental illness. So your brain is made out of 60% of fat. And where do you get the fat from? You get fats from omega-3. Those are the ones that you want to get in. So that's like your fishes. That is flax seeds. That's chia seeds. That's hemp seeds. Pumpkin seeds. So all of your seeds, avocados, olive oil, that's where you want to get it from. You want to stay away from the omega-6, which is those actually cause inflammation. Where do you get omega-6 from? canola oil. You get it from any of the vegetable oils. Those are processed. Those are inflammatory. Margarine is another one. Okay, and then you want to optimize your nutrition by minimizing mental health. Where there is mental illness, there is poor diet. So how many times do you actually just grab that bag of chips and not think about it? Or, you're just having that really bad day and you grab that ice cream. The next time you're doing that, think about what you're grabbing and putting into your mouth. So here's another one. Where there is mental illness, your digestive system is not working because you're actually in fight or flight mode. Can we turn that off, please? Thank you. Nutrition matters, and the most important missing link to mental health in today's society. So here's one to think about. Food is medicine, medicine is poison. That's by Dr. Mark Heyman. So again, here, if we go a little bit further into contributing factors, chronic stress. So that is when you are in stress more than 30 days at a time. And that means not stress that you encounter from the environment, which we'll talk about later, but this is stress that you've actually put on your body, whether it be at your job, whether it be at home, you're dealing with something and you're just in this chronic state of stress. Your muscles are tense, you are not eating properly, you're in a lot of pain. Dysbiosis. So dysbiosis is actually the gut. So the gut is not able to absorb the nutrients that you need. Therefore, it's not passing on the nutrients that need to go where they need to go. And that means you've actually got infections, which leads to other things. So how many of you guys use your cell phones? How many of you guys sleep with your cell phones? How many of you guys are using your laptops? So all of that, those are electromagnetic transmissions. So when you go to sleep, turn off your phone. It's okay if you don't get that email. If you don't check that email, it's okay. Or if you miss that post on Instagram or Facebook, it's okay. Turn it off. And do not keep it near your head. Because that's where the electromagnetic transmissions happen. Yes?
About electromagnetic transmissions, we literally work on 5G and Wi-Fi and mobile hotspots, and we're literally a Wi-Fi company.
Yes. So, but at home, do you have to have all that beside you?
If you work from home,
At night when you go to sleep?
small apartments or something.
No, you can turn it off. You can put it on airplane mode. Because there's ways that you can debunk that, okay? So you can use crystals to actually create interference for you guys for your protection. You can use the mats as well, okay? So yes, you are a Wi-Fi company, but does that mean that you have to completely rule it out at home or not have it around you? Like, there's ways that you can still protect yourselves. Get outside. How many of you guys actually went outside today for your lunch break?
I think there's still home.
Okay, perfect. So just get outside, especially days like this. It's beautiful. Like, why do you have to be inside? Get outside. Take off your feet and start grounding. Don't take off your feet. Don't take off your feet. Take off your shoes, take off your socks, and actually go stand in the grass. That's grounding. That will help mitigate the electromagnetic transfers. But that will also support your brainwave connection. So simple little things. So sugar. So there's two types of sugar. There is sugar that we consume that is added sugar. That's refined sugar, your white sugar, your gluten, all of that. Whereas you have sugars that you take in from actual natural sugars that we need. Our brain actually needs carbohydrates in order to process. That's where we get our source of energy from. So now you have to make sure, like when you're having juice, that's pure sugar. That's not doing anything. Whereas if you have an apple, that's got fiber in it. That sugar is stuff that you actually need. So there's the two types of sugars. Nutrient deficiencies, which I talked about earlier. Artificial sweeteners, where do you find that? Anything that says diet is artificial. Artificial sweeteners are probably the worst thing for your brain. Why? Because they actually fool your brain to think that it's a real substance, but it's not. It leads to cancer, it leads to further mental illnesses. It's a carcinogenic. So I don't know why Health Canada approved it, but they should have never approved it. So if you can actually get away from having artificial sweeteners, you're ahead of the game. Heavy metals, right? We often hear about like mercury, we hear about lead. It's a real thing. And those actually lead to further mental illness symptoms. For example, lead and mercury and aluminum increase emotional issues. Lead disturbs intellectual functioning. Mercury disrupts motor skills. And it also alters intellectual functioning and increases symptoms of anxiety and psychosis. So we don't realize how much lead we're actually taking in. It's a lot better now than what it was before. But there is still lead in there is still heavy metals that we're in. Your fillings, how many of you guys have fillings? The metal fillings. So every time you're eating, guess what you're doing? You're actually ingesting some of the metals. Chemicals. So pesticides, they do a number on your digestive system. They absolutely do a number on your digestive system. And then you've got red dye, 40. You got blue dye, yellow dye. Where do you find the red dye? The artificial M&Ms. Have you heard of M&Ms? Red dye is what they use. Red dye, questions after. Red dyes actually interfere with your brain. They will actually increase your chances of ADD, ADHD. Copper in excess is related to excess estrogen. And when you have excess estrogen, your doctor will tell you you've got depression, but really it's your hormones that you have to balance. Homocysteine is an amino acid that is elevated. So if you've ever had an injury, especially a brain injury, that creates inflammation. So the more inflammation you have in your body, in your brain, that actually is a contributing factor to mental illnesses. Oxidative stress, which I sort of mentioned earlier. So oxidative stress is environmental stress. So all the pollutants, cleaners, those create a lot of oxidative stress. Your personal care products that you're using, how many of them are scented? 90% of them are scented. So now imagine, an average person probably uses about 10 to 15 personal care products. So before you've even left your house, and every single one of these are scented, how many chemicals have you already ingested or inhaled? So those chemicals, if you just change to an unscented, you've already reduced your chemical toxic overload by 10%. And that goes a long way. And then hormonal balance, which I've already spoken about. So what nutrients should you be taking? Water, omega-3, and this QR code is, if anybody would like to get vitamins, you can get your vitamins because you're not getting enough of the nutrients. But is vitamins the answer to everything? No, it's a filler, right? We need to have, the more whole foods we have, the more real foods we have, the better it is. And then the vitamins basically are married. They come together and they fill in the gap. So the other vitamins that we need are all of the B6s. I will actually share this with Carla once we're done, and you guys can take a look at all of the things. Calcium and magnesium. Very, very important for brain functioning and overall health functioning. Zinc, iron, electrolytes, antioxidants. So your antioxidants counter your oxidative stress. Vitamin D, L-theanine, and probiotics. So how can you overcome anxiety, worry, or any of your other overall health issues? Walking 3 times a day for about 30 to 45 minutes. Guess what? You guys can actually buddy up and do that. You're getting outside, you're exercising, you're moving, right? And not only that, but you can actually talk, you can build relationships with your counterparts, your peers. Questions after. So you want to eat nutrient-dense foods and supplement with good quality DHA. So when you're getting your omega-3s, you want to make sure that they have a high quality of DHA, because we don't actually get that. Journaling your thoughts. Some of you may feel like, well, why do I need to journal? It's a way for you to actually process what is happening. So that way you don't have to share it with someone if you don't want to share it with anyone. And if you're someone who likes doing videos, then great, do it as a video log and keep it private. It's a great way to go back for you. Find a hobby. Dance. Laugh as hard as you can. Laughter is one of life's medicine. Volunteer. Do something that's bigger than you, that gives you purpose. Meditate. Invest in yourself and learn something new. All of you guys, congratulations for actually being here, because you guys have invested in yourself today to take that step to learn about mental health. So congratulations on that. At the end, get professional support. If really you're at a place where you've tried all of these things and there's something you just can't figure out, get the professional support that you need. So, what to do in the workplace? You can offer support. Don't be quick to judge. Offer training. Words of encouragement. Patience. Flexible work schedules. Empathy. Empathy goes a long way. Regular check-in. So if you see one of your peers, they're just off, check in with them. Professional help. If you need, always get the professional help. Okay, so here are things what not to say. And believe me, when I would have had my episodes, I would hear some of these things. I would want to take that person and punch them in the face. Although they meant well and they think that they're doing well, but to hear it, it just did not register. So what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. How many of you have heard this? It seems innocent, but for the person who's actually dealing with all the mental illness, it's a struggle. It really is a struggle. Just get on with it and see the silver lining. You look fine, so what is wrong with you? Just smile already. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. You're just bored. Get a job. You have a loving family, so what's the problem? There are people far worse than you. You have money. Why are you depressed? Money's not the answer. Money's not everything. Yes, money will get you experiences, money will get you to different places, but that's not everything. You're an attention seeker. Stop being so lazy. You just need to face your fears. You're just acting like a child. It's all in your head. It's not. You physically cannot move. You have one side that's saying, okay, you need to do this, but your other side, your whole body is just like, no, I can't deal with this. I just need to shut down. I will shut down. And that's what happened to me. I would shut down completely. I knew what I needed to do, but I just could not take that next step forward. And to hear these would really put me in a state of rage. So just remember, be empathetic. You don't know what the next person is dealing with. If you like to work with me, this is how you can work with me. I have 3 different packages ranging from 6 weeks to 24 weeks. Okay? All right. Thank you. If there's any questions.